What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Hook It podcast. This episode of the podcast is once again supported by 35 Bikes. 35 Bikes are dedicated to bringing you the best bike components for the best price. It's that simple. So if you're in the market for some new brake pads, they start from just $6.99. We have brake rotors, mud guards, and whatever else you need. So head to 35bikes.com, and if you enter promo code podcast at the checkout, you'll get 10% off your next order, and you'll also get free shipping. So that's promo code podcast on 35bikes.com. You know, unless you live in a jungle, in the tribe, or you're a total savage, then chances are you wear underwear every day. And if you're going to wear something every day, then you're going to want to have it be the best thing you can possibly be wearing. After all, you don't want to be constantly putting on those skidder-ridden Primark pants every morning, making yourself feel worthless. You know, you've got to get your day started on the best foot. You've got to start foot forward, get into it. That's why we endorse and are supported by Saxx Underwear. Saxx makes the best underwear on the planet and currently has brand ambassadors like Danny Hart, Elliot Jackson, and a little-known rally driver called Ken Block. Again, Saxx makes the best underwear on the planet. The ballpark pouch is a game changer. If you've not already tried it, then go to your local bike shop, ask for Saxx underwear, or forever feel worthless. All right, let's get on with this podcast.
Hi, I'm Ollie Wilkins, and this is the Hook It podcast. Hold tight, freshers. Okay.
Here we are, another episode of the Hook It podcast, episode number 33, believe it or not. Can't believe we've made it to 33 still, if I'm honest. It's crazy. Tons going on right now. Pretty soon we're going to be launching, I'll be launching the Trailcast. So if you don't already follow at the Trailcast on Instagram, head over, give it a follow, and you can keep up to date with what's going on. It's going to be a pretty interesting project, but this podcast is still going to carry on, which is cool. Hook It news, we've had so much happening right now. Obviously, we were at Eurobike a couple of weeks ago. We've just released the new joystick binary stem, which is insane, and it was amazing that all the joystick riders killed the world champs at the weekend. Obviously, Loic winning, Miranda Miller also won, and Finn Isles wrapped up the Junior World Championship title too. So a three-peat for joystick, which is incredible. We've got some new pedals coming out soon as well. Joystick pedal, and there's also an extra special product launching very soon too, so keep them peeled for that one. That's gonna be rad. I've managed to get a holiday recently, which was crazy. Got over to Sweden, hung out with some friends, had a little break, managed to get away from email and all that sort of stuff just for a few days and gather some thoughts, make a bit more of an action plan with this thing. Got some guests booked as well, which is cool. But for right now, episode 33 with Martyn Ashton. Still can't believe Martyn Ashton is doing this podcast. We've had some incredible guests, but I know when I first wanted to do this, Martyn Ashton was on the hit list. You know, it's someone I really wanted to sit down and have a chat with, and it's cool to finally have the opportunity to do that. I hope you all agree. Martyn's an inspiration to so many people. He's an icon within mountain biking and sport in general right now. The man behind Road Bike Party, 40, I don't know, plus million views on YouTube, and 4-time British Trials champion too. So, yeah, not really much else I can say. Let's get on with this episode. Let's see what's going on. All right, here we go. Rock and roll. All right, man, we can start being robotic.
Okay, yes.
Do you like bikes, Martyn?
Yes, I love them.
All right, that's that. Okay, dude. I'm gonna guess this is probably your first podcast too.
It is.
Awesome.
It is,
awesome.
And I'm excited.
I was thinking about it before. It's like with all like the media obligations I'm guessing you have and all the stuff you've done in your past. I was thinking, I wonder if this is like your first podcast. I'm like super honoured to have you on here as a guest, man. So
Well, I appreciate being here, and yes, it's my first podcast, and I'm curious. I quite like being able to chat in a more relaxed way, because sometimes when you do like interviews or I mean, I'm not like a pro downhill racer where I'm getting like bothered by press all the time, but I mean, when I do get a chance to do that stuff, it can be a bit,
repetitive maybe. Or...
Yeah, well, you end up kind of saying the things that you've said to a similar question before, and you don't really think things through. And I'm a bit of a, I'm someone who likes to chat, which you'll probably discover.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. Do you listen to podcasts though at all? Are you a podcast fan or?
You know what, I used to when it was kind of, I don't know, like the Ricky. No, not when it was cool. Like when it was sort of like new and the whole sort of Ricky Gervais phase and things like that.
Yeah.
I did a bit then, but since what I end up doing, I'm always listening to audio books.
Right.
So I think I've just got lost in the world of that over the last few years. That's to be honest.
It's similar though, isn't it? I mean, I'm a bit of an anomaly because I spend all my days driving pretty much. Like I visit all of our dealers around the UK, so I'm in the van, 6-7 hours a day. So I'm a bit of an anomaly. I listen to so much podcast stuff.
Right.
Very rarely turn the radio on. And I just like listen to cool stories and stuff like that. Like I just prefer to do that than listen to some music that I'm not even into. Yeah,
well, you know what? If I'm in because I do a lot of driving myself, and I used to be a bit of a Radio 4 listener, really boring. But there's some great stuff on Radio 4. And then I recently, over the last few years, I've got really into silence. So I'll drive. I drove to Fort William the other day. So for me, it's about an 8-hour drive in utter silence.
Really?
The whole way.
That's cool.
I challenged myself to do it. It was amazing.
It is. I'll be honest, I do it every now and again, but I think one of the major things in that is you need a nice car, which you can hear the engine of, I think. Like, for me, my van's beat, so I can hear wheel bearings. There's a bit of noise from a camshaft.
I've never actually thought about listening to the car, actually. No, I sort of kind of just focus in on the kind of silence and see where it takes me kind of thing,
Maybe it's an excuse to buy like a Ferrari or something.
It's a really great excuse.
Isn't it?
That could work.
Want to listen to the engine.
Yeah, I wish I could afford one.
Well.
Yeah. I've heard they're expensive. Good luck with that.
All right, man. Well, I wanted to kick this off by sort of asking you about how you grew up. I know it's a bit of a random one, but I read an interview that you did a little while ago, and it sort of mentioned a few of the things like your parents divorced when you were young, which is very similar to me. But like me, you probably really enjoyed it. You got 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases, and stuff like that. Which is, mate, I can totally feel you on that. It's amazing. It was the best experience ever. My dad literally lived down the road from my mum when they split up.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just sort of wanted to ask you about that a little bit and sort of how that helped shape who you probably are right now.
Yeah, well, it had a big part in it, actually. Like I say, my parents divorced when I was just a baby. So my mum moved from our home, which is in Windsor Great Park, in Berkshire, and she moved to Windsor. To Newbury from Windsor. So Newbury was my kind of weekly home. And Windsor, where my dad lived, was my weekend, playground.
Right.
And I think it really shaped my love for bikes and my brothers. I've got 2 older brothers. Their love for bikes, because my dad wanted something for us when we went to Windsor that would sort of make it, a special place, I guess, and really give him something to be doing, I guess, in the week. It sounds terrible, but I think during the week when we weren't there, he wanted to still feel like he was connected to us.
Yeah.
So we started riding motorcycle trials.
Okay.
He had a background in motocross, or scrambles, as he used to call it, scrambling on his greaves. And we all were my brothers sort of did it first, and then I followed them into motorbike trials.
Right.
So the weekend was motorbikes. The week when I was back in Newbury, we didn't have motorbikes there, so I rode my BMX and I pretended it was a motorbike. And I swear to God, this is true. I still do it. I literally would make motorbike noises. And we're talking like, when I was practicing hard for competitions, I would be going out every night on my push bike in the week, 2 hours a night. You're talking about an 18-year-old guy riding around for 2 hours in a town centre making motorbike noises. And everyone just looking at him like, what the hell is that wrong with that guy? He's like weird, really weird. But I'd be like going like, like really make... Because back then I was really into 4-stroke Hondas, because that's who the famous motorcycle trials riders were riding.
Okay.
So yeah, back then it was like a deep noise, and then as I got older, 2-strokes got better, and then I became a bit more of a like, sort of noise. So my motorcycle noise.
You can tell you've had practice with that. You can really tell. Mate, I can just envisage you now driving up to Fort William in the car, making the car noise. If I'm honest.
Oh, you know what I do? Yeah, I never used to make motorbike noises in the car. Yeah. So my parents divorcing early sort of really shaped that whole thing. I think we'd have had a very different lifestyle if they hadn't. And I like yourself, I've always seen it as a really positive move. My mum and my dad stayed great friends, and we had my experience was wholly positive. I can't say anything else. I know that's not necessarily everybody's experience, but that is mine, and I can't help but appreciate that they were brave enough to do it,
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, very, 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 very similar growing up, and made you really appreciate time with my dad. You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe if they lived together, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I did, and maybe it makes them go out a little bit more out of the way than what they would do as well. Like you said, to make their house like rad, like make it really special.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad worked hard at that. He wanted it to be something really great. But I think it also gave my mum time to. They both had really strong focus, and on what their part in our lives was.
Yeah.
My mum passed away sadly 3 years ago.
Sorry to hear that. Okay.
And she was a huge influence for me, and someone I miss an awful lot.
Of course. But yeah, sounds like some fond memories, that's for sure. So,
oh God,
how did the motorcycle trials career go? And is that what sort of like got you obviously into the mountain bike trials or cycle trials back then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in all honesty, and I've said this before, so excuse me for the sort of standard interview answer, but I am a failed motorcycle trials rider. That's what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a professional trials rider on motorbikes. My hero in sport is Jordi Tavares, who was, when I was a young trials rider in the late 80s, early 90s, he was the god of the sport,
right.
And he still is my idol, and I wanted to be a motorcycle trials rider. That's what I loved. And the reality of trying to be great in any sport is you need to do it a lot in the right place.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, as fabulous as my parents' divorce worked out for a lifestyle, living in Newbury and not having your motorbike during the week doesn't foster a pro career. You need to be living in a fantastic place with the greatest terrain, and riding every day. So riding just at the weekends didn't support that. So I accidentally practiced on push bikes during the week, pretending they were motorbikes.
Right.
And ended up being really good at trials on push bikes by accident. That's literally the truth. I just literally didn't even mean to do it. It's all a big mistake, man.
It turned out right, though, didn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I can't say, I'm not gutted with how it turned out, but I still have the odd panging dream to be a great motorcycle trials rider. But I'm very fortunate now to have some friends who really are great trials riders. Dougie Lampkin is one of them.
I was going to say you probably know Dougie and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's weird. It's weird knowing Dougie because I know him, and I think I'd like to say he's a friend. You know, we've had some really great times together. I learnt to fly a plane with him, and but I can't. It's really odd. I cannot remove my just fanboyness
Really?
out of the situation when I'm around him.
Right.
He is just one of the greatest. To me, he's one of the greatest sportsmen who's ever lived. Like, if you're into trials, what he's achieved on a motorbike and what he's done for that sport is
It's
just
level, isn't it?
like, you know, I mean, you can't even, I don't even know how to explain it.
No.
If you're into trials, you know, wow, Dougie Lampkin, it just
it's
doesn't.
a household name, isn't it? It just.
Yeah, he's just incredible. But he's just such, honestly, I don't know if you know him, but he's
I don't
just.
actually know. I know a lot of people who know him, and he's relatively local to me. I'm guessing he's probably still based around Buxton.
No, he's in
right?
Skipton.
Skipton. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, my mistake. Maybe I don't know why I thought it was from Buxton. Maybe that's because where Gas is based. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's just an incredible guy, and he's the nicest dude. He really is. He's just I don't know. Actually, when I had my accident, he came and hung out at the hospital with me for a day,
Right.
and it's really weird because he turned up and I was just like, oh my God, it's me in a room with Dougie Lampkin. And I just thought, hey, am I allowed to swear on podcasts?
Oh, man, you can say whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. I was like, fuck me, I've got Dougie Lampkin for, like, you know, an audience with.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And one thing I will say about Dougie, right, is he's not interested in talking about trials. I've known that for a long time. He just doesn't care.
Right.
He's not like, oh yeah, I want to talk about all my success. So he's sort of like a bit uncomfortable with it. But I know so much about that dude. It's scary. And I just thought, well, I've got him here now. He's come to see me. So surely this is like, I can do what I want.
Lock the door, you're going to grill him.
And I pretty much, for about 4 hours just, grilled him is the word. Grilled him on just... Hey, you remember back in 1998 when you went up that section in France and he was just like, how are you remembering these things? And I'm like literally talking about him, you know, it's just,
That's so cool.
And he just put up with it for like 4 hours. It's great. It's so great. He's an amazing guy. Yeah,
it's crazy though. You can't get over that, like that starstruck thing. You know, I often have it. You know, I've had it doing this. I mean, I have it, I guess now.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's sometimes
weird.
you just can't get over
I
it.
don't want to. I love all that stuff. You know, I love feeling that enthusiasm. And I was in Whistler recently, and I saw Sam Hill. The EWS had just finished. I was down at like the finish area, and Sam Hill was sort of hanging out by the sort of SRAM tent thing. And I've never met him, and I thought, I'd love to meet Sam Hill actually. And I thought, screw it, I'm just going to go over and be like, you know, just totally normal about it. And I was like, I just went over to him and I was like, oh, hi Sam, I'm a really massive fan. I just wanted to come and shake your hand and say hi. And I guess, right, because I'm in the industry, I thought he might go, recognise me maybe? I don't know.
Right.
And like go, hey mate, how's it going? And he went, all right mate.
Really?
That's it.
Oh,
and I was
no.
like, actually, that was pretty much what I expected from Sam Hill, I guess. He's
I
pretty
was
to the
just about
point.
to say before you finish that story, I was going to be like, it must be like a bit of a head start for you because 99.9% of people are going to go, oh, it's Martyn Ashton. But it didn't work that way.
I maybe kind, I was getting lots of people coming up and doing selfies and things, so I kind of thought, and I've had other riders come up to me and say hi. So I guess I was hoping, but he just totally, like, whether he recognised me or not, knew me or not, he just gave me a very classic Sam Hill response of like, I'm not interested, whatever.
That's brilliant.
Like, I'm not. It was great. I was like, oh,
what a result you had at the weekend though as well. That was insane.
man.
Sick on that. Oh man,
unbelievable.
Epic.
I mean, can you imagine how many things he did at the weekend that are just outrageous?
Yeah.
Like he did it on an enduro bike. He was first man down the hill, so he sat on that hot seat and podium for about.
I practically live there.
Yeah, he basically stayed there for the whole race. I mean, what did he finish? Sixth?
Yeah, sixth. Yeah, flat pedals too. Just
Oh,
insane.
Unreal.
Massive
It's just,
respect to
it's
that
one of
guy.
those things that just like, wow, I don't know, just,
Yeah.
yeah, we saw some things happen at the weekend that were pretty special, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good race, definitely.
Yeah. In cross country too, just crazy stuff going on.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch the cross country.
Oh, mental.
Maybe I need to
Absolutely
watch it, but I haven't watched the cross country race yet this year. I know
I've
that's
been, I've been loving the cross country.
really.
I really like the. I think the commentary's really great now. I really enjoy Rob on there and Bart Brengens there. Is it Bart Brengens? Yeah, that's right. I think so. And they're just really knowledgeable and love the racing is really exciting now. Really is.
Yeah, maybe I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
I know it's bad on a mountain bike podcast sort of admitting that you didn't watch it, but hey, there's so much stuff though
But,
to catch up on all the time. It's just, God.
We are all consuming content.
Yes.
Incredible rate.
We are.
So there's a lot going on. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, dude. Well, I wanted to kind of move on as well and speak to you about your riding career. I guess a lot of people still have you down as sort of creating and definitely making trials cool. Would you say? Is that fair to say?
I don't know. I think there was a lot of people who made trials.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people would argue trials still isn't cool, but I mean, there's trials, isn't there? And then there's street trials, which is probably the cooler side of things. But I mean, comp trials is probably still not deemed as cool. But if if anyone watches it for any amount of time, and see what the guys can do, it just literally blows your mind away what they can do on their bikes now.
Yeah. So did you just not accidentally transition into actually doing competitions and stuff, but did you have a point where you thought, right, the motorcycle stuff isn't going to happen, it's time to take the cycle stuff more seriously, or is it's still in the back of your head now?
Yeah, I haven't given up on it. I literally, actually, me and Dougie were talking quite recently about an idea. Yeah, no, I literally haven't given up on the motorbikes. I'm sad to say. On the push bike thing literally happened. Like I was sponsored by my local motorcycle shop, and they used to hold their own annual show where they'd have all the importers of the new trials bikes.
Right.
So it was a trials specific shop. They'd bring all their new bikes down. It was literally to his local town hall, and they'd bring out and they do like a little mini, trade show.
Okay.
And he got some guys along to do a 20-inch bike trials display, like a little demo on some pallets.
Right.
And this guy came along. He was British champion. He's called Stuart Matthews. He was the importer for Monty at the time,
right?
Which was the trials bike that was the only trials bike that existed, really. Big fat tire on the back. Literally like the classic 20-inch trials bike design.
Super long stem.
Yeah, and this was when they had almost like a triple clamp fork. Actually.
Oh, okay, wow, we are going back.
Yeah, really old school. This would be like 1990, maybe.
Right, okay.
And I watched this guy ride. He could do all of the techniques that no one had really seen yet. Side ops and hopping on the back wheel to a level that wasn't familiar to everybody. And I just thought the guy was like a wizard. I'd literally thought he was doing magic on a bike.
What is this?
And I was like, I've just got to do it. I've got to do that. Right. And I got one of the bikes. I went to a local competition that the guys had told me to go and try. I took my Rally Burner, which was the only BMX I had. I didn't have a trials bike. I rode the competition in the expert category, which was one down from the category that Stuart was riding in, which was the elites. And I come second in that. And I was like, oh, right, okay, I'm riding pretty good. And I bought a proper bike at the end of that event. And I went to the next one, moved up to elite. I come second in that, got picked for the Great Britain squad to go to World Championships. My third event was a World Championship trial in Spain. I come back from that as kind of like the number one British rider because I kind of progressed in the 4 rounds of that World Championship so quickly.
Right.
And then I basically didn't lose in the UK for 10 years. I just had an amazing, I was just like hit a level that was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, just it all
Above
worked.
everyone else's.
Yeah, I did. Well, in the UK, it was weird because I don't know, I literally had been learning this sport by accident for like 10 years before that. So I turned up at a level that was really good once I got on a good bike, but I'd just been I'd been literally pretending I was on a motorbike all the time, and it developed skills. And I mean, it's not like I wasn't riding trials. I was riding motorbike trials the whole time. So I'd been understanding the sport and the etiquette and the psychological side of the sport really well anyway. So I had all that already, you know. So yeah, just sort of dropped into it by sheer mistake. I didn't plan it at all, and it just took over.
You've just totally reminded me of something which I'd just totally forgotten about my life, and I'm not going to bang on about it too much, but you know, it's something like totally randomly just happens like that. Like I spent most of my youth, I say youth, like as a kid, riding around trees, riding speedway on push bikes, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm from like a speedway / motocross kind of background too. For years and years, just riding around trees with my cousins and friends. And then this sport appeared called cycle speedway, and we were like, "What?
Oh, wicked!
Oh my word! Like we're probably all right at this." But it was a very similar sort of story, you know. Next thing you know, riding in a world final in Poland. Like,
amazing!
I've been doing it for like 2 months. It's weird when that happens. Yeah,
it is with cycle speedway. I
totally forgot about it.
Yeah, cycle speedway is such a cool sport. I love it.
It could be quite cool. It could be really cool if it had the right direction, I feel. But there's a while back, like MBUK and stuff did some features in there, and I know Steve Pete was doing some stuff too. Like I can't remember what he did it for. Maybe like a This Is Sheffield episode. It was pretty cool. It's kind of like motor speedway though. It just needs updating a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go and watch speedway every week. On I think it was a Tuesday with my brother.
Okay.
Reading races.
Races on Reading Robins. Yeah, Swindon
Reading
Robins,
races.
Reading races. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go and watch the league there. I used to love it.
Awesome.
So good, so good. Yeah, such a good sport. Really lovely. It's such a cool night out as well. You sort of.
It's a shame. It's kind of, I don't know. It seems to be deteriorating a little bit in the UK right now because a lot of people are just going to ride in Sweden and Poland and stuff. And again, I had a lot to do with that sort of stuff about 4 or 5 years ago. That was I was working for a speedway rider and all sorts of stuff. But when you see, you know, it's Poland's national sport. It's huge over there. You go to a league meeting on a Sunday evening and it'll have like 20,000-30,000 people. You go to Sheffield Speedway on a Thursday night and there's 200. It's chalk and cheese.
Hey, dude, I've got a really funny speedway story actually. So a couple of years ago, I don't know if you know, but I've got like an adapted street triple Triumph with electronic legs that kind of go down like landing gear.
Okay.
And I was asked to go and ride that bike at Goodwood Festival of Speed. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you do like a hill climb there.
That's right,
where and loads of like famous or notable people ride up this hill either on famous bikes or the riders are famous, and they wanted me to go onto the start line and ride up, you know, so this disabled guy goes up the hill. And I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. And I'd already done it once on the Friday, and then on the Saturday it come to my run. And what happens is you all ride down the hill, all the people who are going to parade up, you ride down and then turn around and get on the start line, and then every 30 seconds they set someone off. And there was like a jet-powered bike, and there was Casey Stoner, and there was incredibly famous people, right? And me, in literally in a pair of jeans and a leather jacket. I looked like an absolute idiot. But just before I'd started, my straps that hold my knees on the bike had broken.
Okay.
And I sort of didn't realise, and I started riding down the hill, and the strap fell off. So I started sliding off the bike, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna fall off." And this was just going down the hill. I managed to stay on I got to the bottom of the hill, and turned it around and put my landing gear down and stopped. And I was like, "Oh my god, what am I going to do?" And I saw this guy all dressed up in funny leathers, and I shouted to him. Of course, we've got full face helmets on, so I'm like going, "Dude, come over here, come over here, come over here." And this guy comes over, right? And it's He was the world speedway champion. It's the American guy for Monster.
Greg Hancock.
Greg Hancock. That's the dude, right? He comes over. I kind of realise who it is as he walks over to me, and I'm like, "Hey, mate, can you get me some? I need some tape or something to strap my knees on." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I can't." And we're rushing, right? Because the queue is getting seriously short in front of me.
Right.
I'm about to start, and I'm going, "No, look, I can't walk and stuff. So you need to strap me on, right?" So he's looking at me like I'm some kind of idiot, like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And then he says, "Oh, wait there," and he runs over past my over to the behind me, and he sees the Ferrari mechanics for their Formula One car that's about to go up later on. And he gets some gaffer tape from them.
Obviously, they've got gaffer tape.
Of course, because they're the Ferrari team,
Carbon
aren't they?
gaffer tape, yeah.
He comes back with this gaffer tape, and he just starts taping me on, literally onto this motorbike. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, this is such a weird situation. Like, the world speedway champion is gaffer taping me onto this bike. But he does it like mega tight, which is really dangerous for someone with a spinal injury like mine, because obviously I can't feel if he's literally cutting off the blood supply or whatever. So now I'm kind of totally panicking, like, I think he's done it up too tight. But how do you tell, like, this like icon of motorsport, like, dude, you're gaffer taping me up wrong? So I just let him do it and just prayed.
Just went for it.
And then I rode up off the hill. I did see him later on, actually, at the kind of
brilliant
dinner, and I managed to explain it all to him.
Oh man, he's a nice guy too. Really nice.
He was really nice, and I tell you, he's got great gaffer tape skills.
He's actually the Troy Lee designed importer into Sweden too.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he has a distribution company. He did Cro-Mag as well for a little while.
Oh, he's a smart cookie.
He is a smart guy, is Greg. Yeah, very smart guy. He lives in Sweden. I've spent a bit of time with Greg over the years. Nice, really nice dude.
Nice.
I had Ty on this podcast when we first started too. Ty Woofenden, who's the world champion. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Ty's a mate of mine. It was definitely a different kind of episode. It was a good laugh though, that's for sure. Those guys are pretty ruthless when they get going.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess when I sort of first became, I'd say, aware of you and the other Martyn and stuff was through the MBUK days.
Yeah.
Obviously, would you say that MBUK really gave trials a bit of a kickstart? Like, I remember what was it called in the back? Is it Hop Idol? Is that right?
Oh, Hop Idol. Yeah, that was
I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah, that was quite a while into the kind of MBUK era, I guess. Right. But MBUK for me and Martyn Hawes as well. For a lot of riders actually was just a huge springboard to get notoriety and get sponsorship and it was just, they were really open to trying new things with features, and trials really lends itself to like any kind of media like that. Trials really lends itself to that well, because you can get really amazing images or really amazing video footage that will really really make something make something look cool. So they were super into that. Really, they really helped me out a lot.
Like I said, that's kind of like when I personally had a little dabble in trials, was that sort of era, like the Bike Live kind of times, and just sort of doing backups off a curb, just trying to impress chicks, which just didn't happen at all.
I tried using trials to impress my girlfriend, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
I'm guessing though, with your personality and stuff, I'm probably going to assume you enjoyed going out riding like urban trials and stuff, and doing that side of things.
Urban trial. I used to just go out and I was riding street, but didn't really even know what it was called at the time. So I'd go out on an evening and just spend all of that evening trying to find stuff to ride over. I'd go and practice on steps, and there's a place called Victoria Park in Newbury where I live, which is just like full of cool obstacles like most local parks. Right. And I used to just pretend I was Jordi Tarres basically. And and still do. That's what I like. Yeah, that's what I like to do. Pretend I'm Geordie Towers. I've never
cool.
managed it. I have managed to meet him.
I was just about to ask if you met him.
Yeah, I went to his house actually with MBUK. Actually,
Right.
MBUK. We went there and did a feature. Me and Rob Warner and Martin Hawes were all on that trip, and we're all from motorcycle trials.
Yeah.
And we seriously lost it over going to Geordie Towers' house. We were, just going
Was it
nuts.
everything you expected?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, it was great because I don't think I really wanted to get to know him.
Right.
You know, I don't. I
That
really
moment when all those dreams and reality meet, and you just
I love loving him. You know,
Yeah.
I've always adored his motorbike riding, and I've always loved what he did for the sport. And I went to his house and saw all his trophies and saw all his bikes, and he was an absolute gentleman, lovely guy. But that's all I wanted. I didn't want it to be any more than that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was the same. We always wanted to get out of there, still feeling as
Tick
like
it off the bucket list and bounce.
like as idolising him as much as ever, rather than like, oh yeah, he seemed like a real down to earth guy, which he was. But I just didn't really want to give him a chance to break my, this aura he had around him, which I really love.
That's cool, man. How do you respond to it when people are like that with you? Then, out of interest.
God, I doubt if anyone's like that,
dude. Come on, let's be real.
Seriously,
They definitely
seriously love George Harris. I don't know. I mean, I'd always just think. I mean, first off, I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I really love meeting people. I always love it when people have enjoyed what I've done on a bike and want to tell me. It's a privilege. I don't ever get tired of it. It's always really nice. It's a lot easier these days because all anybody wants is a selfie. So it used to always be like you'd be walking around W.H. Smith's or something and someone would ask you for an autograph and it would be like, well, can we go to the pen section then? Because I bet you haven't got a pen. They'd be like, well, no. I was like, well, why did you think I had one? Like, why? Yeah, like my wife just said, you're in W.H. Smith's. There's loads of pens. Yeah, so you just. It's always amazing when people come up to you and say, can I have your autograph? And you'll say, yeah, of course. And they'll go, well, have you got a pen? You're like, why would I have a pen? You're the person.
Hang on, I've got a photo too here.
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, I've not got an ego that big.
I was going to say, I wonder what people think of your ego if someone said that. Oh, I saw him and I asked him for an autograph. He pulled out a poster and a pen.
He signed.
A signed hat as everything. It's weird.
No, selfies now make it all a lot easier and quite fun because it's a really funny interaction. Yeah. You can always kind of play with that a little bit. So it's usually makes... Because sometimes if people come up to you, they're maybe a little bit, nervous or whatever. But selfies really help break the sort of stickiness of the conversation, and you can kind of play with it. I'm like, yeah, give me the phone, I'll do it, and it's good fun. So I've always liked it, but I do see it as like a huge privilege, and I don't know, it's very hard to imagine yourself being seen in a light like some of the people I really think are special bike riders or whatever, and and I seriously doubt they. I don't know. It's hard.
It must be crazy though to think that you've obviously have inspired people like Danny Mack and Chris Ackrig and God no end of people to maybe people we don't even know. To ride and stuff. That's crazy.
Danny Mack, yes, I've inspired Danny Mack. Me and Chris go back a long way.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever inspired Chris. I think I've just annoyed him because we were competitors. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're great friends now. But we have been not enemies, but in competition, warriors for sure. And we battled out over the British Championship me and Chris shared the British Championship over like a 6-year period. It was him or me basically.
Right. Okay.
And we've had some moments. Sometimes you can't be friends when you're trying to compete against someone. Trials is actually, everyone thinks of it as a very slow speed sport. It's actually really, when you're competing, it's really in your face. You're stood right next to the person you're competing against.
Yeah.
You're either watching him ride or he's either watching you ride. And it's really intimidating. It's a lot of psychological gameplay. You don't need to, it really is harsh at times. And yeah, me and Chris have been in some funny situations where we've had to try and psych each other out. And I've won some and he's won some.
Right. Do you still follow trials then?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, definitely motorcycle trials, push bike trials. More recently, I definitely had a period where I wasn't following it.
Okay.
But there's definitely been a period for me where it's been quite hard to follow a lot of things because obviously my accidents made me look at things in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I manage that stuff a lot better now.
Awesome. Motorcycle trials is just it's one of those things where you watch it and you have to keep rewinding it and being like, what? How did that make sense?
It's incredible.
It is. It's definitely come a long way since I ever even had a go on one,
But trials will be will always struggle with its biggest problem is that it's too difficult.
Yeah.
Trials is too difficult to understand. It's too difficult to learn. It will never be mass participation. It's hard to say because it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Like to be a BMX rider or a mountain bike rider, you only need to have the product. Like I go and buy a full suspension downhill bike, I'm a downhiller. I've only got to roll down a hill. To be a trials rider, you need to learn to track stand.
True, yeah.
So that's like, what I mean? And you're not really a trials rider until you're track standing. That's the simplest skill there is in trials. And that takes a long time to learn.
Yeah.
So trials is always going to really struggle with that.
I think, a friend of mine runs a motorcycle trials shop, pretty local, and I can't remember if this is entirely true. I might just be making this up, but I'm pretty sure he said to me a while back that they actually had to make the courses, like the World Trials course, a little bit easier because there was only one or two guys that could even do it.
Well, I mean, it's still, they haven't solved that problem.
Right.
The thing is that they keep changing the rules to try and make it more accessible.
More accessible, yeah.
But the thing is, the best guys, every time they change the rules, the same people win because they are just brilliant. I mean, Tony Bow is literally unbelievable.
Yeah,
the guy who's coming in third or fourth in the world trials competition to him doesn't understand how he does it.
Yeah.
So how anyone else is supposed to, I don't know. I guess we all don't understand it the same amount, so that makes it kind of
very
enjoyable.
True, yeah. He's scratching his head as much as we are, which is
But yeah, I mean that stuff is amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
Kind of leads me on actually when we were talking about selfies about media, because you are one of the guys that's sort of seen media and social media and stuff sort of become, I wouldn't say even more popular, it's just sort of taken over like print and stuff.
Is this a nice way of you saying that I'm really old?
Well,
You've been around since they've begun taking photos. What was
you
it like
remember
back
the old
in...
cameras with the hoods and stuff, right?
Yeah. I used to have one of those.
Winding your car up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to get your take on that actually, because social media has become such a massive thing. You were saying about people wanting selfies and stuff now, and I think you've obviously been at, I'd say, the forefront of that too, in a way, with YouTube and Road Bike Party, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked earlier and it's got like 15 plus million views, I think, now, which is incredible, dude.
Yeah, it is. I mean, those videos are very good to me. Yeah, I think I've been really lucky to go through the process of how media and sport has changed.
Yes.
So when I first started riding, to get sponsored, you needed to win stuff. And then I went through the process of realising that the only way to reward your sponsors was to get in magazines. So I focused on that.
Yeah.
And I literally used competition results to just tick the boxes of what a pro rider needs. So
that's crazy how it's changed, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah, I mean, it was about being world champion to begin with.
Yeah.
Then it was about how many front covers have you had, and then all of a sudden it was about live events. How many people are you in front of each year? Right. So I started riding on live shows everywhere I could, and then YouTube came along, and suddenly video so accessible, and then you've got someone like Danny
Yes.
just blowing up, you know, and suddenly he was a superstar in a like the day after he'd put his video out, he was a superstar.
A true household name. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'd literally put bikes in, 10 million people's house, which is just like, I'd probably been spending half of my career to that point trying to reach the same amount of people. He did it in a week, and I was like, well, I need to be able to do that. And I knew my riding was pretty good, but I I could see that the stuff that did well on YouTube was stuff that was quite manufactured and different.
Yeah.
So, the idea I had for Road Bike Party worked perfectly for that.
Definitely. Was that all your idea then, Road Bike Party?
Yeah, well, it came about because there used to be an event called Bike Radar Live that MBUK used to run, and they were doing that for the second year, and they decided to introduce a road criterion to it. So one of the publishers at Future Publishing, a guy called Pete Stoddard, who I now work with at Global Mountain Bike Network, he suggested that we did a little video where I did a wheelie on a road bike outside their offices, and they would put it on their website, and it would kind of like show that mountain biking and road were coming together at Bike Radar. Yeah. And I sort of was like, oh man, really, a wheelie? You know what I mean? Like, oh. And I was like, dude, let me have the bike for a week, and I'll come back with something. And I come back with this real shoddy video. I thought it was a shoddy video. To promote Bike Radar Live, where I basically did a few pretty lame stunts on a road bike. Didn't do much, but it did give me like 3 or 4 days of trying to do different things on a road bike, and I just suddenly was like, oh my god, you can do anything on this bike. And I mean, road bikes I've always thought are beautiful things, I've always really liked them. So I gave Pete this video, and they used it to promote Bike Radar Live. It's still on YouTube, I think. And it's me riding a rally road bike. And it's kind of like the pre-bike Road Bike Party video. It's basically the idea, but just not I haven't fully entered into the idea, haven't explored it. And then I just banged on for like probably 2 years to people saying, I want to do a really good road bike video. And this video for Bike Radar Live had done really well. It had probably got 3 million views, which to them was just like an incredible hit, But they were like, no, you've done it now. You've got to do something different. And I was like, no, I haven't even scratched the surface of what you can do on these bikes. And then, so I just went off and found the funding and stuff myself. And I just knew it was going to be hilarious. I just knew. I was like, I've got to make it because I know I'm going to laugh so hard at it. But I was a little bit worried what other people would think about it. I wasn't convinced other people would like it, but I knew it would be funny. So I knew that there was a little bit of a get out in terms of like, if people didn't like it, I could be a bit like, it's just a bit of fun. So there was a bit of pressure on me, but not that much. And just got a bike, talked some people into giving me a bike, and I found a bit of money to pay for the videographer. It was Robin Kitchen, who's a good friend, great videographer, and we worked on it, and I just went mental with it. And then once I'd got that video going and it did really well, and it kind of was my moment on YouTube, which I was so lucky to get because it kind of kept me current, and up to date. And at that time I was basically, I wasn't probably going to get any better. And the dawn of a new era of riders like Danny was very much that was very much happening.
Yeah, it's cool though that you're aware of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people I guess aren't, and they just sort of let it pass them by.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, I was really lucky to have that.
Yeah.
And that kept me going through that sort of era, and I guess that era is still happening, digital revolution, if you like. And yeah, and then obviously that led to. But again, I had the same problem after Road Bike Party One. I was like, man, now I am going to go nuts. And everyone was like, you've done it now. What are you? Said exactly the same thing as when I did it the first time. I was like, no. Like, you just don't get it. You can, like, these bikes are really. It's a really cool but really stupid idea, which makes it really interesting in video, because you've got this, like, should I think this is cool, or is it just like stupid? And you can't ever decide, I don't think. And there's just something really funny about pulling a trick on a bike that wasn't designed to do it, and it somehow still look kind of good, but you're wearing the wrong clothes. Then it's like, I don't know what to do with this in my head. It's really bizarre.
Well, I found it really cool sort of going back and revisiting some of those videos. It's been amazing. Like, I was sat watching TV with the missus the other day, and I'm like, you've got to watch Road Bike Party. Like, we've got to watch it again. I just had it on the big screen. It's awesome. Fun.
I haven't watched them for a while. The second one for me is hard to watch. It is definitely a moment in time, but it's also a moment in someone's life. And it's very, I've seen it a lot of times, because when we did the edit, obviously I had to see the video a lot. It certainly wasn't an easy thing to do.
I was curious too. Sorry to interrupt. I read it in an interview that Road Bike Party 2 was that kind of aiming to be sort of like your last edit almost. Would you say?
No,
was it not? Okay, I don't know.
No,
just say no.
It's difficult, because I want to make sure that I'm not, like I said, when you're doing interviews, sometimes you give an answer that's scripted, maybe not scripted. But you said before, I don't want to do that. Okay. The Road Bike Party 2 is not the video that I had planned. Obviously, I got halfway through it, and I've got to be difficult. I've got to be careful here, because I do some sort of like I do a few talks here and there, like motivational talks and stuff. And talking about this video, I talk about it in this speech. Okay. But once you've done it like 5 or 6 times in front of crowds, you say the same thing, and it's got kind of punchlines, and I don't want to say that to you. But it's hard to talk about it now. I've just realised, without just saying what's in my head when it comes to this. So I started making a video, and my idea was, for at the start of the video, was I wrote a list out of everything I can do on a bike, or have ever done, in terms of a trick list. Or dream obstacles. And I was like, right, I'm not only going to do a road bike video, I'm going to do everything I've ever done or dreamed about on a bike in one video on the wrong bike. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to give it everything I've got and see where I can get to. And can I achieve all the things I had? So I had, I'd spent a lot of money on it, making things, and I know
the bike was like insane.
Well, the bike itself, but I actually was making obstacles and making sets, and really sculpting something. And I got barely halfway through it. When the accident happened, I was at doing a live show. It wasn't actually filming for Road Bike Party, but I was midway through the process of filming Road Bike Party, which basically was bolted around my life riding as a, riding on shows and stuff. And I just, was so lucky when I'd had the accident to still be able to kind of, save it, to be able to just ring up Chris and Danny and go, lads, I've got a seriously big deal going on here. What can you do? And they were just both literally like, well, up for it. It's easy to look back now and go, oh, well, they just did some stunts on a road bike, but they're taking like big risks. And they're midway, they're riding their careers too. Danny was midway through a big video project. Chris was doing 2 videos at the same time, I think. And, they plan their year out just like anyone else, They managed to fit it in,
and did an awesome job as well.
They did an incredible job. And Danny managed to. I mean, I gave them both very loose direction in terms of what I wanted from each one of them. So I really wanted Chris to be very Chris with the bike, so go out into the wilderness and ride over rocks, and then Danny, I really wanted the Danny
railway carriages and stuff.
Yeah, railway carriages and bouncy ball. But I was really fortunate that he could do the loop, because we'd both weirdly in our own careers spotted that loop, which is in Manchester. Okay. Separately, and had both unknowingly been planning to put it in videos. So he wanted to do it, but he was going to do it on his own bike for another video, and I'd spotted it for Road Bike Party too, and I had never done a loop, so I'd bought an airbag. I had an airbag specifically built, measured for that loop, so I could practice it,
right,
and put it in the video, but. That I never got to do it. I practiced an open loop with the airbag, and that was working really well. And I built an open loop, which no one did in the end. But Danny could go to that loop, and because he'd used a loop and ridden it literally hundreds of times in Imaginate, he could just do it. Okay. So we managed to get that obstacle in anyway. So I was really lucky with things like that. Little twists of fate, which meant that. Maybe that video was always supposed to happen somehow. So it's really sort of poignant for me, because obviously really tells quite
a huge part of your life too, right?
A painful story, but also a big achievement. So it's sort of bittersweet, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Obviously, the interviews I've read and whatnot about your accident are super inspiring, obviously. And obviously it was a very tragic moment in your life, but I can't wrap my head around how you managed to stay so calm and stuff, and how positive you were through the whole situation. And I guess it's not really a question around this, to be honest with you. It's just me freestyling. But how on earth did you manage to do that? Stay so positive. And like I said, I've read a few things, and a lot of the stuff you said was, you knew straight away it was happening, but you were calm and you looked at the sky, and is that just years and years of doing stuff and just kind of?
Oh, I don't know. It's tricky. It's a hard one to answer, because it's really easy to sort of make up some story that sounds cool. Oh yeah, man. I mean, the truth is, when I did have the accident, there was a really crazy moment where, I just, for whatever reason, I don't know the answer to it, but I did know exactly what had happened, literally the moment it had happened.
Right.
So I was never under the illusion of. I had a moment where I was like, I was weirdly, when I crashed, I was really winded as well as what had gone on. I kind of landed on the ground, and it's kind of funny. We've all been winded, right? We've all had that, the air's just gone out of you. Yeah. And even when you break your spine, right, that doesn't hurt as much as being winded. So it's really funny. So I was winded straight away, but I knew, even as I was winded, I knew what had happened.
Yeah.
And that's probably because, I don't know if your body tells you, or I have actually broke my back before. I broke it in 2003. So I don't know if I'm just experienced.
I read that on the. It's on Wikipedia, and I read it, and when you've only read half an article, I was looking back. I'm like, 03. No, it can't be. And you're thinking, counting on my fingers. I'm like, how old am I? What's happening?
No, it's not. Yeah, no, I broke my back in 2003. But I just had skeletal damage, not spinal cord.
Right.
So I just crushed some vertebrae and had some cracks, and I don't know how long. Lizzie, how long was I off the bike for? Maybe 6 months. My poor wife's having to listen to.
It's fine.
This is a good story. Have you heard it before, love? Once or twice.
Oh man.
So I knew that I'd hurt my back, but I knew that I was paralysed. I don't know. But then obviously once you start feeling around, it's very obvious. So I remember telling Robin, who's Robin Kitchen, was also the manager of the tours I rode on for Animal.
Yeah.
He sort of come over to me, and I was laid on the floor, and I said to him, oh dude, I can't feel my legs, and he could tell. He was like, oh shit, this is really serious. But I just instantly felt like, okay, I was under no illusion straight away. I did have this weird moment where I was just, big deep breath, looking. It was a really nice day. I was looking at the sky, and I was thinking, okay, well, there's no point losing it over this right now. Just be very focused on the simple things. Don't make this. I think my overriding thought was, don't make this any more difficult than it needs to be. So people are going to ask you questions, answer them.
Yeah.
You're going to breathe in and out, concentrate on it.
Yeah.
Your heartbeat is happening, think about it. Just don't do any more than the bare minimum, because this is going to be wild. Like I'm about to go through a process I haven't been through before. So you're laid on the floor, and it's going to be, I just knew it was going to be ambulances, medics, hospitals, doctors. It was all coming. It was going to be a huge wave of energy. Yeah. And the last thing it needed was some guy in the middle of it flapping his arms around, going,
that's like you say, you're almost like self-meditated and really mindful of what was going to happen, which is,
I guess, mindful is probably what it was. I was just being mindful and being really, but I'm really clear about it. I can remember lots of things of it. I mean, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but I in the interviews you've read or something, but I remember getting in the helicopter, because I was airlifted out of there, and they put me in this helicopter. I've never been on a helicopter, and even with the situation I was in, I was thinking, I don't really like flying. I go on a helicopter, and it was really noisy, crazy noisy, and I was just thinking, it's really noisy, but it's bloody smooth. You can hardly tell. It's really, I guess this is actually quite a good way to get around.
Yeah.
I said to the guy, man, it's smooth though, isn't it? He said, we haven't taken off yet. It's just warming up. Yeah, for ages. And I was like, how is this quicker than cars? It's like, it takes like an hour to warm up. Anyway, I mean, it was one of those moments where it was all going on, and it needed it needed peace and quiet, not aggression and energy. And panic's never really a good thing. So I try it, but
and I'm guessing that whole experience has really obviously stayed with you through your life. Has it made you like a more mindful and, God, I hate the word, but spiritual kind of guy? Or
well, don't hate the word. It's fine.
I
mean, I am.
It's the first time I've used it on this podcast. That's
I hate to say it on your podcast for the second time, but I am a very spiritual person. Okay. That is kind of what I'm like. I love that side of life. I have always delved into it, and I've always used it. And since my accident, I've used it even more. Right. It's just one of those things that I've had to use it, because I definitely had a period after my accident where 6 months afterwards my mum passed away, and it was a really difficult time, but also a really amazing learning experience, because I was going through what any professional rider would say is like the worst thing that could ever happen. I was paralysed from the waist down, and my career was over, and I was 6 months out of hospital and didn't know what I was going to do. And then my mum passed away, and I realised what we all realise when people who we love, leave us, is that that's the worst thing that happens. And it put everything into perspective. Okay. I haven't been through, with my accident, anything as bad as anyone else goes through in life. It's just, the big things are the really big things, and this is just another challenge. But after that time, I really had a period where I struggled with it, and I was definitely depressed. I was thinking things that I didn't recognise as stuff I would think, very negative. I had to really concentrate on being,
mindful of
looking
it,
at mindful and looking into different types of thinking, different philosophies, different types of stuff that would help me through it.
Yeah.
And I used all sorts of things, but you just got to.
It's a cool subject, is like meditation and stuff like that. It's you find it always pops up with successful and inspiring people. They always seem to use it as a tool. And I think it can get overlooked. I did a like a mindfulness course ages ago.
Yeah,
Honestly, man, it was a life changer. Like, it genuinely was. I guess suffer with, like, I don't know, anxiety and stuff. That's just part of running businesses and stuff like that. But being able to sort of like separate yourself from that and look at your thoughts and put things into perspective, like you said, so important.
Yeah, I think finding perspective is really. I did a session with a few sessions actually in a row with this group of people who are all sort of suffering from depression. It was almost like a counselling group.
Right.
And I remember going in and thinking, kind of did this, the first session I went to, I clocked everybody's situation. There's about 7 people in the group.
Yeah.
And very different walks of life, different ages, different problems. And I was thinking, man, I've won this for sure. There's no way anyone in this room has got the story I've got to tell. I'm the megastar in this room with issues. And I was just thinking, I'm going to listen. I'm just going to listen. So I listened to a lady talk about her husband, and someone else talk about, anxiety and agoraphobia, and someone else, and then this little old lady talking about depression. Right, so she was depressed, and she was depressed because her little dog she's got, I can't remember what it was, Yorkshire Terrier, I think, maybe a Jack Russell, can't remember. Dog's not important in terms of breed.
Right.
It barked a lot, basically.
Okay.
Barked a lot because it wanted to go out for a walk. Her neighbour hates the dog. Right, so her neighbour hates her because of the dog, and this lady's basically frightened to go out because her neighbour keeps standing in the living room window and sticking her fingers up at her and calling her names.
Whoa.
No one else believes her, but this person keeps doing it. And I remember thinking, really? Is that your story? I'm like, I'm a megastar mountain biker who's been paralysed in a riding accident and his career's just ended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
And as the sort of like sessions went on, I sort of realised that it doesn't really matter how you get there.
No,
it doesn't really matter how you get to the place. Like, the fact is, this old lady who was trying really hard had depression. She wasn't depressed. She had depression.
Yeah.
And it was because she had a little yappy dog.
And that's it in her world, like.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. I'd got to this place. I wasn't there because of depression. I didn't really fit into a category, I don't think. But I think mine was the thing I needed to deal with was very obvious. It was like life-changing. Yeah. So, head was a bit screwed up. But probably wasn't even in anywhere near as bad situation as some of these people. And they've got there because of just shit reasons.
Yeah.
But they were the reasons.
They were their reasons, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It doesn't really matter. So you've got to have a way of dealing with it no matter what it is. And we've all got that stuff going on. It doesn't matter whether you broke your back in a, live show that sounds super cool, or you really don't like the walk to work because you get wet every day or whatever. Wherever you've ended up, you're going to have to deal with it. And using things like mindfulness and meditation and spiritual teachings of certain kinds. I'm being very broad there because I wouldn't like to judge. I don't know how to discuss that stuff really. I've definitely got the things I like, but I'm sure there's lots of people's views on that. It would be quite interesting to hear. And I've used all that stuff, and it's been incredibly, incredibly helpful, and it's how I deal with life.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. Super good story. That, like, you hit every nail on the head, I think, as well, with relating it to other people and stuff like that. And it just goes to show how much it's been in the media quite a lot with certain musicians and stuff having real bad problems with it. And I can't remember which episode it was, but Chester had just passed away from Linkin Park.
Yes,
and I did like a little bit of a tribute. I played Linkin Park at the start of it because it is sad, and people do.
Really sad, yeah.
It's sad obviously, but it's like people kind of push it to the side a lot, and you don't quite realize just how hard it can be affecting people. So definitely it's important to talk about it and use those things like you said, like mindfulness, stuff like that.
I think it comes down it comes down to perspective, and you've got to look at, I think one way I use it at the moment, because I have to kind of break things down into like a simple program for myself. So how am I going to use that today? And I think sort of things like understanding that what you focus on is what other people are going to see you as. So if I go into a day, in general, I focus on being a mountain bike rider, not a paralysed guy. And I think that translates into that's what people see me as. Okay. And I think that goes, you can break that down into, okay, I'm going to focus on being a positive person today, and I'm going to react to things in a positive way. Yeah. And that's what people will meet. Definitely. So the people you meet that day will meet a guy focused on positive things, using a positive attitude, and they'll react to you in that way. And then your life changes. And it's easy to say, it's hard to do, but that's when you break it down into a very simple form and use those kind of techniques, which I'm making up, so I'm certainly no expert, but they work for me, and that's the sort of stuff I do.
It's amazing. Moving on from that, which is awesome. Has being like a public figure, and God, I hope it's all right that I use that term, public figure, but has that really helped you after the accident, get involved with more projects and the science, the new science and new technology and stuff like that?
I don't know if I'd say I'm a public figure. Well, no, it's weird though, isn't it? Because we're all kind of within our communities. I'm definitely well known in my community in mountain biking. Yeah, in mountain biking stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I've been incredibly lucky after my accident to be involved in the sport, the industry in general, and that is action sports in general, not just mountain biking, but certainly cycling, definitely, but broader than that. But I've been really lucky to be able to tap into help from people who've made me, given me this opportunity to try things that actually, if you were just some guy who'd fallen off a bike in a wood somewhere and was now paralysed, would actually have been very difficult to do. Yeah. So I've done an awful lot since my accident that, it's not really me. It's like there's so many people just around me helping me do stuff because I know them, and they're brilliant people. Brilliant people in terms of just how they are as humans, but brilliant people in their careers. And it's enabled me to do things and try stuff that would be very difficult and incredibly expensive to do if you weren't that person, So I just feel really, I kind of pinch myself every day at how lucky I am. I've just got people around me that just, honestly make, I've got a wife and a son who have gone through this horrific situation themselves too, and actually when I call it a horrific situation, it doesn't sound real because that's not what we've done. We've gone, no, we're not having a horrific, we're not going to have, my wife literally has done this thing where she's like, no, I'm not doing disaster, we're not having a disaster, we haven't had one. We've just gone, and that's been the attitude. And my son, he was 13 at the time, it was a really difficult age. I was kind of tutoring him on push bikes, and he was riding very, very well. And then suddenly I'm a guy in a wheelchair and we can't do that stuff anymore. Yeah. And it's really, it's had a huge impact. But he's been, unbelievable. Kids are incredible. They just adapt so well. Yeah. And he doesn't accept, I'm a bit tired today, Alf. He's like, well, yeah, but I wanted to do this thing, so let's get on with it. So it's like, this kid's just like, yeah, but you're not, they don't want to stop for anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the people around me in the industry, God, there's so many.
Oh man, yeah.
But just been amazing, So I think the whole, I don't know, like we said, like the public-y figure kind of thing. It's like, I just think I've been lucky to tap into all of that stuff, and it's just given me great opportunity. Definitely. And all I hope is that, even though I'm very lucky, I hope that I am focusing on how I can drill down into the ideas I'm having about riding bikes as a guy in a wheelchair. And I hope at some point that will drizzle down into a situation where something's happening that makes it a little bit easier to do that if you're in a wheelchair or got a disability of some kind, or want to ride mountain bikes in a slightly different way. I don't know. I'm just hoping it goes somewhere, but I don't really know. I'm just going with it, man. Just making it up as I go along. But I'm just focusing on the riding side of it, and
cool.
Trying to just keep doing it. Like I said, I'm focusing on being a mountain bike rider.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, in reality, I ride mountain bikes once a year when I can make a video about it. But I don't know. I'm just trying to, keep that going and push it.
Yeah, awesome. Kind of leads me on perfectly, actually. The back on track edit, man, the simplicity of that was like so cool. It was like really simple, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It like perfectly captured every emotion and like the moment and stuff. Was that your doing? Is that exactly how you wanted it to be? Can you kind of sum up into words like?
I mean, it was one of those things that, I mean, I've been working with the guys at GMBN for a long time. Yeah. They're all really good friends from the industry prior to GMBN existing. And the guy who owns it, Simon Ware, is one of my greatest friends, and really just incredibly supportive. Was there first minute in the hospital, saying, don't worry, we're going to find ways to do stuff, and really put my mind at rest about not worrying about what I was going to do with the rest of my life, which was really important for me. He was like, he's someone who you will believe. If he says something, you will believe him. And he was like, he was like, we are going to find ways, to that it's weird at that time. You just sort of like, people are saying stuff, not necessarily knowing what they mean, but like, I'm here for you kind of stuff, and he always has been that for me, and along with lots of other people. And there was a real danger of trying to put too much pressure on that video, like, right, I'm back kind of thing. Yeah. So I just said to him, I don't know what it's going to be, just let me go and make the film. But I didn't really tell him too much about it, which was not how Road Bike Party 2 happened. We were like planning it all out and drawing things, and he, knew a lot about what was going on. But for this, I was just like, I'm just going to see if I can do it, and I practiced on the bike in a car park.
At Mojo, right?
Yeah, at Mojo, and just were like, fuck, it works. Yeah. It works exactly like I imagined. And we just thought, right, let's take it to the top of the hill and roll it down it then, and just see how it comes out. And we were just really lucky with the weather and all that stuff.
You said, the simplicity of it, and like it just captured everything perfectly. Like the smile on your face, and that's a bit weird to say, but like, dude, it was perfect. Like it really was. Obviously, having Danny and Chris there must have been huge as well.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys, Blake as well. They were just like. Just that was the crew. Lisa was there in the background, wouldn't go in front of the camera, but she was there, and we all just made it happen. Really, it was just one of those cool things that all came together at the right moment.
It sounds like how she's been forever, kind of always there, but in the background.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, like she is now.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
She's trying to watch Bake Off. She's trying to watch Bake Off.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting Bake Off for the family, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch it later, don't worry.
Yeah, where have you been? It's great.
It's good. Oh, and the fact Noel Fielding's on it's like sick. It's amazing. I love that guy.
I think he's worked really well on it, hasn't he?
Yeah, it comes across. He's brilliant. We went to see him, me and my girlfriend, in like a stand-up show he did, and it was the most bizarre, funniest thing I've ever seen. It was amazing. If you've never seen him live, go see it.
Yeah,
It'll blow your mind.
Alfie's a huge fan of his.
Right.
He's forever watching Mighty Boosh at the moment,
Okay.
and yeah, he's sort of just getting into all of that. So it's quite funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before
good.
we do some listener questions, I want to just quickly ask you about like the motivational speaking stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
Where can people sort of check that out? Is it?
I mean, I've not. It's not something. There is a little bit of like a circuit, you know. You can get on a bit, but I've sort of not really done that. I've just done the odd thing here and there. I'm actually doing a TED talk in November.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations, man! That's huge.
Yeah, I'm really chuffed. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Do you know where you're doing it?
Bristol.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, TEDx Bristol. Yeah, so it's going to be really cool, and yeah, get to stand on the red spot or roll onto the red spot. So I'm going to be really nervous that day, I would have thought. But I've done a few corporate ones, and I've done a couple at sort of bike festivals. I did some at a couple of years, not really talks, but they were more Q&As where I did stuff at the Kendal Mountain Festival, is, I don't know if you've ever been. That is really great.
Yeah. I need to get up to that.
It's
this year.
really.
All my friends went last year, but I was on holiday.
So good, so good. So they have a bike night, and it's outrageous.
Yeah.
So I just do them where it seems right, and hey, I don't know how good I am. I am an R a lot.
I think that's natural, man. I can't imagine doing a TED talk or any sort of stage where it's easy, like, at all. It's not something I could do. I had to speak in front of a few people when we did Steve, what was it, Cam Zink's film Reach to the Sky. We had a premiere in Sheffield, and like Hook It, we hosted it, and I stood at the front for what felt like 2 hours but was actually about 2 minutes talking about it.
Right, yeah.
Oh man, it was the most nerve-wracking thing ever, which is really weird because now I have a podcast which a lot of people listen to, but I don't really even think about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like I very much try and approach it with the way I'm talking to you. It's like try and just be natural, but it's very hard because you do have a kind of a script in your head. Because you've got points you want to go to, especially if you're running like some slides and things. Yeah. So it definitely has to follow a trajectory that makes sense. So as much as I'd like to just go up there and go, so what have you lot been doing today? Like kind of that would probably be my better scenario.
You should try it.
Yeah, maybe I should.
See
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think I'd probably react quite well to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's quite rewarding, but it's sort of one of those things. I don't know, if you're asked to do it, then it's cool. I've done a few things at schools as well, which is quite nice. Because you get really funny feedback from the kids, which is funny.
Cool. Do you have any more TV work or anything like that lined up too? Because I know you did the BBC People Power and stuff.
Yeah, I'm so busy with Global Mountain Bike Network that I don't know where I'd fit it in, to be honest. But it's weird, GMBN sort of got so many followers, and
oh man, I know, it's huge.
That I sort of guess I'm kind of doing TV.
Yeah. No, you don't. No, you're right, 100%.
It's kind of funny. You sort of don't realise how many people you're reaching when you're just sort of filming in a funny little room, and you're sort of like presenting the show basically to your mates, and it's. I mean, I'm loving that. The crew at Global Mountain Bike Network are such a laugh.
Really?
Like I don't know if you follow it, but got Blake and Doddy and Neil as like co-presenters, but we're all very much like stupid kid-like mountain bike riders as well. So it was just.
You need to do a podcast.
Cool. We're just idiots. We just like mess around like children. It's such a laugh. I just went on a trip to Whistler with them, and we had like the best time.
Yeah, I was pretty jealous when you emailed me back actually and said, "Oh, sorry, I can't do that day. I'm going to Whistler." I was like, "Oh man,
it's so good."
All right, you're excused.
Yeah, it's so good. I've never been before. I just had such a good time. We've got a video coming out probably in a week or so of like the trip, like a little vlog of what I got up to. So it's kind of funny. Funny little story.
Cool. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're having a blast.
Yeah, I'm really, I'm really lucky. I nearly said the word blessed, but that would have been weird.
Oh, we can. We've had spirituality, like I'm sure we can throw blessed.
Yeah, but I don't know if I go with my spirituality doesn't reach to blessed. Then we're getting into the realms of those things I was trying to avoid. I don't know. I more go down the route of Buddhism myself. So
all right, I like that.
Yeah, in fact, to align myself.
Yes, I'm into that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to just bang through some listener questions? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, if you've got any.
Yeah, of course we do. All right, we got the first one came in from Tom Ireland on our Facebook, and he wanted to know, how do you keep yourself motivated and in good shape whilst dealing with the daily challenges of your injury?
Routine. I've got like a very my injury requires a really strict routine. If that all gets out of sync, which is difficult when I'm traveling, then it just makes it makes it nearly impossible at times, because obviously you've got to think about, like, once I get sat in my wheelchair, I'm pretty much in a sitting position until the next point that I can not be in my wheelchair.
Yeah.
Which tends to either be in a car, we're still in a seated position. So, it's like managing your body in that way is really difficult. Okay. In terms of energy levels, but also in just terms of like managing your joints that are in that position, because it isn't good for your body to just be sat doing anything. My circulation is obviously very different because my legs aren't pumping blood around my body. So when I sit down, my feet really swell up, and obviously I'm prone or in danger of getting pressure sores when I'm sat down, because you've got to really watch for that. So you've just got to get into this routine where you understand how long your body can do these things for, and then once you know that, you've got to stick to it and be really smart about it. Else you do end up with pressure sores, which can literally mean bed rest for months.
Right.
And it's just like really small stuff. So I stay with the help of people around me. I just sort of stay focused on that routine, and where I work at GMBN, they're incredibly understanding about. At times I'm like, I can't do that today. I just can't do that today. And they're like, literally, don't ask a question. Just like, okay, fine. And then I'm just lucky like that. So I'm just managing it like that. And in that, as much as I don't love the same every dayness of it, I do find that frustrating a little bit.
Yeah.
That is how it's managed. It's difficult.
Kind of imperative to have it like that.
Like I've never thought about what life is like for someone in a wheelchair until I was one, and it has very little to do with whether you can walk or not.
Okay.
That is not what I think about each day. It's a lot of other things you've never thought about that someone in a wheelchair is dealing with. So it's really hard to explain and understand, and there's obviously sides of it that you don't want to discuss with anyone.
Yeah, of course.
Putting it bluntly. But there's, it's not easy. It definitely isn't easy. It's a challenge, but I take it on as one and try and kick it in the ass.
Of course, got to be. Good answer, dude. The next one came in from Lee Evans. Lee works at Demon Tweak, so hello, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Hello, Lee. Out of all the trial bikes you have ridden, from the older Cannondales to the geometry-specific trials bikes, which has been your favourite?
God.
Hang on, and there's an add-on. And then he also wants to add, thank you for the inspiration. And he also wants to let you know he owns 2 Cannondale Ashtons. There you go.
Wow. Well, that's good going. I've only got one. I guess they're the blue signature model ones, I think, probably. God. Well, I'd have to say, I mean, I was on Cannondale for 8 years. So I've had it beaten into me that I do love Cannondales, and I get ridiculed for it these days all the time. Because I do love a Cannondale just for the reason it's got Cannondale written on it.
Okay.
Even if it's a crap one, I'll go, oh, it's a lovely bike. And I'll have a friend who doesn't like them go, that is a piece of shit, and I'm like, yeah, but it's Cannondale, so I just like it. So Cannondales I do love, but I think, I had my own brand out in sort of 2003 to 2010.
Right, yeah.
That they were really great bikes because I obviously designed them, but I think maybe my favourite bike has to be one of the, I had some amazing Cannondales that just, were one-offs, literally made for me by the factory so Beast of the East frames, but they put a head shock in it, so specific geometry, and I think those bikes are hard to...
Yeah, they're the ones that definitely stand out to me too, like when I think about you riding,
Yeah.
And now you're on a Canyon.
Yeah, I mean, the Sender is it's a beautiful bike, right. Honestly. I don't know if you've sat on one, but when you sat on one, you're like, whoa, man, this thing wants to go fast. It's beautiful.
Cool.
I've fallen in love with that bike for sure. I mean, I'm sure that bike is going to be, when I'm old and grey. Actually, I'm already old and grey. When I'm older and greyer, I'm definitely going to look back and go, how on earth did I get that thing?
Well, that's the thing as well. It opened up a lot of opportunities, no doubt, too. So,
so good.
Yeah, huge connection with that one.
Me and that bike, though, I guess we're still having a good time. So we're not done yet.
No, I hope not.
No.
Next one, at J to the Grice on Instagram, and he said, well, the first part is, you are a right legend, mate! ! How many bikes broke during road bike party filming?
None.
Brilliant. I didn't think it was.
No.
Cool question, though, because you would kind of expect that you'd maybe break at least one.
Yeah, no bikes broke. We had one puncture in the first one, and I think we had 4 punctures in the second one between all 3 of us.
Sweet. Wow.
So that's it.
Testament to that bike.
Well, I don't know. I would argue. I mean, it sounds very, I don't know, pumping myself up a bit, but I think
smooth riding. Yeah,
you ride it smooth, man. It ain't gonna break. It don't matter what it is. But I'm sure other people would argue.
The next one came in from at Troy.Dodds on Instagram. I think you've kind of answered this one actually, but how often do you get to ride these days, and do you just ride casually, or do you only ride trail centres?
It's hard for me to ride anywhere other than a trail park, but possible. I did it a little bit in Whistler, but it requires a little bit more help and a bit of knowledge of the ground. I was riding between Back on Track and the Fort William video I did last year. I was riding maybe a bit more, but then not for no other reasons, just them being very busy. I didn't get to ride between my Fort William video last year and Whistler this year. Right. So I literally hadn't touched the bike. So my first ride since getting off the bike at the bottom of Fort William World Cup track was getting on it at the top of the world at Whistler. And I was thinking, man, I should have practiced a bit. But I think with what we're with the video I've just made and the stuff I've got planned for the bike sort of going forward from here, I think I'll probably be riding a bit more. So I'm quite excited.
The hand bike looks good too, right? Is it Batek, is it called?
Batek, yeah. It is so... Batek is unbelievably fun. They're a Spanish brand. I don't know. I've never met the guys, actually, but they sent me a bike years ago, maybe 2 years ago, which was just a throttle bike. It just had handlebars. And it was cool, but it was so good, I wasn't getting any exercise. So I was just like, have you got something that, is... you can have a bit of fun with them, but exercise, and they've got these hand bikes, and so it's got power assist as well. It's like an e-bike, and it is seriously awesome. It looks weird, but literally bolts onto my wheelchair that I'm sat in all the time, and I can go down a normal road and round roundabouts and stuff at like 20 miles an hour in my wheelchair.
Awesome.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, it's a wicked bit of kit.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I've obviously seen your stuff on Instagram, and it genuinely does look really fun.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Next one, random as anything, but it's from at Baybut. Don't know if you know Rich, but he's a photographer up this way and works for Kotick. You're going to have a hell of a memory on you for this, but was it you waving as I pulled a manual on my BMX past McDonald's in Swansea Town Centre in 2002?
Well, it sounds right. I mean, 2002 in Swansea, yeah,
Could
probably
have been,
was.
I guess, yeah. Could have
Probably
been.
was, yeah. Yeah, let's say yes.
All
Let's
right.
say yes.
It was
and
Rich.
hello.
Well done.
Yeah, well done, Rich.
Next one is Aaron Thompson, who another one of our customers works at Escape Bikes. If you had the power to bring back any music legend, hang on, I've totally butchered that. I'm so sorry. If you had the power to bring back any music legend, who would it be?
Oh, it'd be John Lennon for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a huge Elvis fan because I don't think there's ever been a human more beautifully sculpted than Elvis in his heyday. I'm trying to think of maybe is there any sort of female stars? No. It's either Elvis or John.
Oh, Elvis is a good one.
Well, the thing is with Elvis is what are you going to get out of it? You're going to get an older Elvis.
Yeah,
so,
probably coked up eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think Elvis maybe. I don't want to diss anyone, but I think Elvis was very misguided by his entourage, and I don't think it was going in a good direction. So I don't want to put Elvis through any more of it. So let's leave Elvis where he is. I think I'm going to bring back John Lennon because all the guy ever said was pure sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the world would be a slightly better place if he was still here. I don't think we'd have got anything bad out of John Lennon, would we? So I'm going to bring back John Lennon, and I thank you for the opportunity. I feel like a hero for bringing.
If he's at your door tomorrow, man, this podcast has got some power.
Yeah, man. We're in the spiritual side tonight.
Last but not least, this one came in from @Kenny_W81, who I know is a massive Trials fan. He's a good friend of Danny Mac, actually.
Yes.
Of all the edits you have been in, Martyn, which was your favourite and why?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me what was my favourite edit then, not about me. None of them. I'm in all of them.
If you want.
No, I'm in all of them, so none of mine. I would say... Way Back Home is special.
Cool, yeah.
There's a lot of good edits out there, right? But Way Back Home is a rider, Danny laying down some serious ambition and achieving it.
Okay.
Yes, there's lots of great videos since that, but I think there's something going on there that we can all maybe watch another time and go. If anyone's listening to your podcast with me in it, I'm sorry if I got rid of all your viewers, listeners. But if anyone's still listening, just go and watch Way Back Home one more time.
Yeah,
it's worth a watch.
Definitely. No, it's one of those that's going to definitely stand the test of time.
Yeah, it's good
for sure. All right, dude. Well, nice to wrap up around there. I think if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say? Anything that you want to promote, or anything like that? Like anyone you want to thank? Then.
No, well, I tell you what. I'll use the opportunity to mention the Dirt Shed show. It's like the weekly show we do on GMBN. I'm always, I'm like the anchor man for that. I always had a W in front of that, and we have a good time on that. So if you fancy checking out more stuff, that's definitely a funny place to go. And just thanks for letting me come on. I really, I'm gonna.
Man, all absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Even though it was talking about me, I wish we talked about you more.
No, please, no one wants to hear about me. I get shit all the time, mate. All I do is talk about motocross. So there's like an underlying joke in this whole thing that everything that happens, I can always relate it back to motocross because that's.
Well, mate, you know what I mean. I'm happy to talk motocross.
I can't, man. We get some people reach out and they're like, "What are you doing? Stop it!"
Oh, love it. I'm following a guy on Instagram at the moment who's doing the most incredible whips.
Oh right, really?
And
who?
It's the dude that he keeps doing whips but lands them to wheelies.
Yeah, Slay. It's Axel Hodges.
Axel Hodges, that's the dude. It's
next level.
Oh, love that guy.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Yeah. Mate,
I love that whole thing though. That Axel Hodges for me is everything that moto is about right now. It's like it's not racing, it's just having fun and making cool stuff. I love that stuff about mountain biking too, like the 50-1 stuff. I'm a big fan of that.
50-1 stuff is brilliant. I love those dudes. They were out in Whistler as well, actually. Yeah. They were doing some cool stuff. I mean, that whole side of mountain biking. I felt like when I went to Whistler, it was weird because I I've never been to mountain biking like that before. I've always been competing, or I've been at a big international race, and it was the first time I'd been somewhere where like people were mountain biking like people go surfing.
Sick, yeah.
I
love that side of the sport.
And I was just like, God, I've missed the point. I've missed the whole point. Like, this is like a form of mountain biking I've never done, just like doing it because it feels nice.
It's in
Not
a good
doing
spot
it to
right
go
now, mountain
fast.
biking, I think. It's in a really good place.
Great. Yeah, a great place.
It
A
is.
great place. But yeah. Yeah, but you know, I could have talked motocross more.
All right.
No worries,
We'll do
dude.
another one.
Man.
I need to speak to you anyway about some GMBN stuff shortly, so I'll hit you up about that. But again, I want to say a huge thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit and talk to you. Definitely.
No worries, man.
You were on my bucket list when I first started this.
I really appreciate
It's
it.
awesome to finally get it laid down. So
Cheers, man.
thank you, and enjoy watching Bake Off.
Yes, yeah, I'm going to go and watch some Noel.
Okay. See you later, dude.
Cheers, dude. Bye.
Okay, goodbye. Bye. And that just about wraps up another episode of the Hook It Podcast, episode 33. I hope everybody agrees Martyn was an incredible guest. It was a dream of mine to sit and have a chat with Martyn. Super fun, really enjoyed it. Plenty of knowledge and inspiration and all sorts of stuff came out of that, even for me and hopefully for you guys. If you have enjoyed this episode, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It helps a bunch. If you have also enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. Again, you wouldn't even believe how much it really helps the show grow, and the more people, the merrier. So please do that. Don't forget as well, support our sponsors, 35 Bikes and Sacks, Trailcast coming soon. And yeah, don't forget to, if you are going to your local bike shop or shopping online, don't forget all the brands we represent. It's not a sales pitch, but yeah, keeps this podcast going, that's for sure. So again, thank you everyone for listening. It's been a blast. Have a great rest of your week. Keep it real. Peace out.